this year is slated to be the most active hurricane season since 2012, and we're already seeing evidence of that with 9 systems of interest this morning. These storms can have a massive physical impact, of course, but what about their impact financially? Joining us now to discuss the economic impact of a hurricane is meteorologist and weather company business analyst Paul Walsh. Good morning. Always good to see you, Paul. So we talked about the power of a name following the Louisiana floods and seeing just how many businesses were impacted. Does a name matter when we have all these storms that our forecasters are tracking and headed possibly to Florida? Does a name matter when it comes to the economic impact and how people prepare?
I think it does, actually. And I think what we're seeing now is indicative of what typically happens in advance of a potential named storm. Because of the forecast surrounding the storm and the media surrounding the storm, it has a huge impact on large population centers, and people become disrupted. That disruption leads to travel plans changing. It leads to events changing, i.e. the Tampa Bay Buccaneers game being canceled. And it has a generalized overall impact on local governments as well. So that forecast has a big impact. With a name, it has an even bigger impact, I think.
So the impact kind of fluctuates and according to the duration of the storm. So it happens before, during, and after. That's what you're saying.
That's exactly right. And that before part, which I call the forecast factor, is really a big impact. I mean, the actual impact is rather subtle in terms of the amount of dollars that are impacted, but it impacts a large amount of people. And oftentimes a storm will veer off and it won't impact, or it won't be as strong as expected. But that predictive impact, that forecast, that cone of what I call certainty of people that are affected by the risk area is actually pretty large, and it impacts a large population center, which has ramifications from an economic perspective.
Now, Paul, let's talk about what's happening in Hawaii. We do have named storms in the Pacific, 2 major hurricanes taking aim at the island. I only have a few seconds left before we go to Jim, but we do have craft advisories in play. These islands rely a lot on exports and imports. How is that going to impact that?
Well, we'll see. We'll see where the storms actually go. But as I noted before, that based on the forecast path of those storms, there's going to be impact right now. People are preparing. Businesses are being disrupted. That impact will increase as time goes on and as the storms get closer. Once we're within a day or so of impact, then the impact in the local communities goes up exponentially.
All right. Weather business expert Paul Walsh. Always great to talk to you.